guys, it's Kelly and welcome back to my channel. I'm still here, I'm still pregnant, but I have a very exciting video to show you today, and that is the Volkswagen Atlas versus the Chevy Traverse. Now, I've been driving this Traverse for about a month now with my 3 kids, and I thought before my loan was up, I wanted to really compare it to one of my favorite cars, which is the redesigned 2024 Volkswagen Atlas. Now, both of these cars have a lot of similarities, but they also have a lot of differences, and that's what this video is dedicated to. Breaking down the differences, seeing which car will work best for which type of family. If this is your first time joining me, hey, I'm Kelly and I'm the car mom. I review cars for moms and for families. I'm a mom of almost 4 and I'm a certified child passenger safety tech. Let's get started. Okay, so the reason I wanted to compare these two cars is because for the midsize category, they are 2 of the largest in terms of passenger room. The Volkswagen Atlas I have always claimed as a car seat machine. It has an incredible second row, a great bench seat, and the Chevy Traverse is truly one of the biggest midsize SUVs you can get. It's kind of that last step before you go up to something like the Tahoe Expedition or Yukon. It has so much trunk space, great second and third row room. So for families trying to decide between the midsize or full size category, I really recommend checking out these 2 cars to determine what size of vehicle you're after. If these things feel too small, most of the other mid-size cars in their class are also going to feel too small, and then it's a good indication that you're probably a candidate for a full-size or a minivan. Now, we first met the Atlas back in 2019, but for 2024, she received some pretty significant refreshes both on the exterior and the interior. The 2024 Volkswagen Atlas was actually the Car Mom Car of the Year for some of these reasons. The most notable difference to me from the 23s to the 24s, besides like the interior design, was that for the 2024 model year, the Volkswagen Atlas is now an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. It's the first time it has ever been awarded that prestigious award. I was very excited to see that. Now, the Chevy Traverse has been around for years, but this new redesign is new for 2024, and they freaking overhauled this thing. The exterior and the interior have been completely redesigned. The old body Traverse versus the new one doesn't even look like the same car. They knocked it out of the park with this exterior. Now, these 2 cars came out at different times. The 2024 Traverse has not received the IIHS testing yet. So it's passed NHTSA testing and the other regulations that it had to, but we don't know how it will compare to the Atlas because it just came out. All right, here's a shot of me in the driver's seat of the Volkswagen Atlas. Now, one thing I love that the Atlas changed for 24 is they decided to put a lot more equipment standard. Now that feels really good when cars are just getting more expensive and making more features not standard. The Atlas is doing the opposite. So even on the base trim, which starts at $37,000, you're getting heated seats, ventilated seats, and a power tailgate. Some really nice comfort features that on other vehicles are reserved for the higher trim levels, and I really liked that. The interior of the Atlas has really knocked it out of the park with this redesign. The old Atlases, so the 2019s through the 23s, they left some to be desired. They were very basic. This one has a lot more going on. However, I have some gripes with it. I do like it. I like that we have heads-up display. I like the digital dash. This is all fine. I think it's a helpful touchscreen. The climate control drives me crazy. There's not a knob to be found in this dang car. The volume's not on a knob. The climate's not on a knob. The fan isn't. I find it a little clunky to like get to certain things, and I would prefer knobs, but it's not horrible, something you would get used to. And for the most part, I like the user friendliness of it, right? We've got the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is great. Now, this is just a fun feature, but I love the ambient lighting that's found in the Volkswagen Atlas because look at all the colors you can choose from. Look at this. You see how it's changing the display, and then it will also change the lights underneath here. Really fun, customizable. I know it's like kind of silly, but I like it. And I'm done with the purple. I'm going to go to the perfect shade of Carmine Blue. Another thing I've always loved about the Atlas is its cubby spaces. Some of the best cup holders in its class. Huge cup holders, fit my giant Stanley, and then just a lot of nice cubby spaces that just make sense. We have a great place to put your phone or your wallet right there. A really nice size center console for the size of the car. Very deep side cubbies, and we have a pass-through here, new for 24 for just some extra storage as well. Now here we are in the new Chevy Traverse. And don't get me wrong, the Volkswagen made some good headway with their technology. It doesn't hold a match to this though. The new Chevy Traverse screen is incredible. I love this curved infotainment system right here. And I do find it to be a little bit more user-friendly because they have knobs and buttons. Like, I find this much easier to use. Volumes up here. We can control our temperature and our fan from right here. I have loved using this infotainment system. I really have. Missing heads-up display. So I don't have that in the Traverse. We had it in the Atlas, but we have some other fun features not found on the Atlas, like Super Cruise. Now, that's GM's version of autonomous driving. It's basically like cruise control on freaking steroids, okay? So if I am on a Super Cruise mapped road, I can then set the Super Cruise, and the vehicle will control the steering and the gas and acceleration. It can even change lanes for you. It is some of the coolest technology I've ever experienced in a car, and I absolutely love it. We also have some fun tech features like a rear view camera. So I always love this feature for families because the more people you get in the car, the less visibility you have just between car seats or even like adults riding back there. So I love the options to do that. Unfortunately, not available on the Atlas. All right, as far as storage and cubby spaces, the Traverse does pretty well. Really nice storage right here with a wireless charger. The cup holders are not as good as the Atlas, but guess what? There's 4. So I'm happy. Really nice space right here. And we've got a large center console plus a pass-through. The side cubbies are not as good in the Traverse as they are in the Atlas. I would say overall both cars have good storage, but I'm gonna have to give like these 4 cup holders in reach like a big thumbs up because I love that feature. Here's a shot of me in the second row of the Volkswagen Atlas. Now, here's why I love the Atlas. Bench seats available in all trim levels. And it's not just any bench seat. It is probably my favorite bench seat in the midsize category. It is so nice and wide with 3 sets of lower anchors and 3 top tethers. Removable headrests, really just the works. Oh, and a car seat tilt, which we'll get to in a second. This bench seat is so 3 across friendly, can do multiple combinations, and that's something that's really important to me when I talk about a family car. I really try to encourage my audience to not just buy a car for your current car seat setup, but your future car seat setup as well. If you plan to keep this car for 5 years, I know you've got 2 rear facing and 1 forward facing now, but what does that same combination look like when it's 2 booster seats and a forward-facing car seat? Will it still fit? The Volkswagen Atlas is very versatile, and I absolutely love this bench seat. Just want to give you a real shot of my legroom here as well. I have this seat set for myself, a tall, pregnant driver. I'm about 6 feet tall and 9 months pregnant. Look at this knee clearance. So comfortable. It's a very adjustable second row, so I can move it even all the way forward. My knees still aren't pressed against that seat, giving the third row probably more room than I would even need. So I love the size. I love the passenger size of this car. Amenities in the second row. Sunshades. Love it. Huge door cubbies. We love it. Vents only on the back of the center console. No ceiling vents in this car. Volkswagen, please, for the love, if you could change one thing, I would put your vents on the ceiling. For these rear-facing kids, these 2 vents back here are just not enough. Now, we do have heated seats on this trim level, 2 USB-Cs, leather back pockets, and cup holders. So comfortable. And let me show you her party trick. Okay, so the Volkswagen Atlas comes with a car seat tilt. Now, whether you get the captain's chairs or the bench seat, you're gonna have this feature. With the bench, since it's a 60-40 split, the 60% side actually tilts together, but the single side would work the same. But with the car seat tilt, you see the whole seat tilts. So if you had a car seat installed here with latch, it would not affect your installation. I've done a ton of videos on the car seat tilt. We can leave a link in the description box below if you want to learn more. But it's a really great feature, especially those who are needing car seats in the second row and passengers in the third row. Here we are in the second row of the Chevy Traverse. Now, the biggest difference between the Traverse and the Atlas is the Traverse does not have the bench seat that the Atlas does. She's not a 3 across machine, and she's not available on many trim levels. I think only the base 2, which is disappointing. I haven't even seen a Chevy Traverse bench seat in person. I've seen photos, and I can kind of speculate how things would fit. It's not nearly as versatile as the Atlas. Now, not everyone's looking to do 3 across, so I get that, but it is worth noting the bench seat on the Traverse, not my favorite, and I hate that you can't get it on all trim levels. So we're dealing with the captain seats, which are still very nice. They also, like the Atlas, are on tracks to offer more flexible seating. I don't feel I have quite the second row leg room, but I still have plenty of leg room. Again, this seat's set for myself. I'm back here, and I'm still very comfortable. My amenities are also really nice. Now, what's funny is I've got the ceiling vents. I don't have the sunshades. I mean, come on, you guys. Can we just figure it out? Can a girl just get both? Is it really that difficult? A vent on the ceiling, though, very nice for those rear-facing kids. Heated seats also available. We've got leather back pockets, some side cubbies right here, and overall a pretty comfortable second row. I also really like that the Chevy Traverse still offers the car seat tilt. Now they had the car seat tilt on the old models, but weirdly it was only available on one side. But new for 2024, they now have the car seat tilt on both the passenger and the driver's side. So just like the Atlas, the whole seat tilts and slides to allow for your third row access. Now, although I don't have an Atlas with captain chairs to show you, I just want to say that both of these aisles are pretty comparable in size, and they're actually pretty wide for the class of this car. There's some other captain's chairs that literally it's like this big, like it's barely even a captain's chair. I can actually get through here. If I had to get through here, I could. All right, and here we are in the third row of the Volkswagen Atlas. Now, a big difference between the Atlas and the Traverse third row is we only have 2 seats here, 3 seats in the Traverse. But to be honest, I don't mind that about the Atlas because look at how nice and wide these seats are. They're actually very car seat and booster friendly because of their width. Now, they drive me up a freaking wall because I don't have lower anchors here, but I do have tether anchors and removable headrests in the third row. So it's not a deal breaker because you don't need the lower anchors, but I would like them for booster attachments to be included. Also, what's crazy is I have better vent placement in my third row than I do in my second row. They're not on the ceiling, but they are on the door panel. And since I don't see a world where you'd be putting a rear-facing car seat back here unless you absolutely had to, this is actually a really good preference for forward-facing or booster-aged kids. We have cup holders on both sides, USB-C charging on one side, and I have decent legroom. This is with this seat pushed all the way back. And my knees are touching, but I'm not braced. And I showed you how flexible this seating can be. So just depending on who's sitting here, you can kind of be versatile on how much legroom. And see, this is very comfortable. I actually really appreciate the 2 seats back here because I don't feel like I'm sitting on a buckle or anything, but instead just comfy. Okay, and now we are in the third row of the Chevy Traverse, and there's a lot to talk about back here. Vents on the ceiling, honestly incredible placement. Very excited about that. USB charging on both sides, cup holders on both sides, and you see we have 3 seats back here. Now, I am normally hate 3 seats back here because the middle seat is normally so small. And while I don't think this is like a 3 across mastermind back here, I do think this middle seat is actually a seat a human could use. And I have installed car seats before in this middle seat. Now, not next to each other, but I wanted to do it for more legroom, and it worked out. Another huge gripe I have, though, is no lower anchors back here. I mean, come on. Are you kidding? Tether anchors in all 3 seats. That's an A+. Headrests are not removable, but they're not an issue. They're not like protruding or weird in any way. I had no problem installing booster seats or forward-facing car seats back here. I just would love the lower anchors. I mean, come on. Okay, now it is time for the long-awaited stroller test. Okay, I got the Upper Baby Vista out, and we're gonna test the trunk space between these 2 cars. Now, they honestly both have pretty good trunk space for the size. The Traverse is technically a little bit bigger, but here's the thing. I don't always like to pay attention to things like cubic feet because you gotta remember, a cubic foot is in the air. And that doesn't always mean more space for strollers, suitcases, groceries, things like that. So here we are with the third row up. Little extra storage underneath here. And I love these about the Atlas. These little cubbies here, you stick a gallon of milk, like a high breakable, rollable thing like a watermelon, it really helps. And there you have it, a full-size Baby Vista stroller with the third row up of the Volkswagen Atlas. And now here we have our Chevy Traverse trunk. Biggest trunk in its class. And it's actually a very nice size, I'm not gonna lie. Look at that, all that extra storage underneath there. Trunk space, very impressive. Let's grab the stroller. Obviously the Vista fits great, and what I do like about the Traverse is just the back's a little bit higher. If you kind of notice in the Atlas, this wheel was almost well over where the headrest even would be. So I do like how this fits, and it still feels like you have, room to do some groceries, a couple of weekend bags even. I mean, the trunk can't be beat. Now, before I go, I just want to mention the vehicle's performance. Now, I am not really a performance-based driver. I like to focus more on how the car would function for a family, but I have driven both of these cars for well over 1,000 miles or 2, and I have to say, the Chevy Traverse does feel a little underpowered. I don't feel that way in the Atlas. When I'm looking for power, I'm not looking to be a speed demon. I'm just looking to really merge onto a highway, get past a semi, and I just wish the Traverse had a little bit more get up and go. I think the performance of the Atlas is great. So if you're test driving these 2 cars, just don't forget to do that extra step and get this thing on the highway over 60 miles per hour to make sure that wouldn't be a deal breaker for you.